Hey everybody, I'm Thomas, and this is Writtance, where we write whole worlds. Keeping in theme with the powerful object of antiquity, here's the origin story of another powerful artifact, from the time of its creation early on in the history of the Valish Empire. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the fantasy short story of Forged in Shadow. Ready? The striker shouted as the blacksmith placed the cobalt blue metal on the anvil. In one swift motion, he slammed the enormous sledgehammer down on the now malleable metal, once said to be unworkable. The blacksmith flipped the metal over and quickly slathered the opposite surface with astral resin. Keeping the rhythm, the striker raised the sledgehammer and readied it. "Ready!" he shouted as the blacksmith placed the metal in position. They had repeated this procedure for 4 hours already, and the metal had flattened about 1.8 millimeters in the process. The lump of deitite was a remnant of the lost age of history, melted by the dawn of Horizon itself. Fragments of it had been found throughout the ages, but none of it had served any purpose, as there wasn't anyone capable of forging it. Until now. The metal we've come to call deitite was used in the construction of temples to worship a deity wreathed in shadow, whose name we've long since forgotten. It is said that when cinder lit the sun aflame in its likeness, its heat melted the temples, and its light banished the shadow. Whether or not this is true was irrelevant to the blacksmith and his apprentices, as they feverishly worked on shaping it. The metal was unusually hard, and had a melting point so high nothing shy of direct contact with the sun could even heat it. If worked into something usable, its value would be immeasurable. Many blacksmiths attempted such a feat throughout the ages, but none had managed to even chip it until recently. A fragment of star rock had struck the mountainside of Balatum on the far north side of the Valish Empire. After some experimentation with the local magi of Arcanium Corantis, it seemed to possess transmutative properties, which, after many weeks of deliberation, was worked into a resin. This was handed to the mastersmith of the empire, who was tasked to forge the first deitite blade. "Switch," the blacksmith said as his second apprentice assumed position. The moment the first retracted his hammer, the second took his place. Her strong, muscular form was well rested, and allowed for the first apprentice to sleep, as she took his place. Like clockwork, the 3 apprentices cycled each other out, as the blacksmith worked uninterrupted for the next 76 hours. "Halt," the mastersmith said at the dawn of the 4th day. The large container of astral resin had almost entirely depleted, leaving only a modicum of it stuck to the bottom. Using a flat knife, he scraped the final bits of it together and smeared it on the side of the blade. Gripping the metal tightly, he treadled the grindstone into motion and carefully worked the remnants into its edge over the next hour. "We need not swage it," the mastersmith said as he finished attaching the hilt. "It is done." The 3 apprentices could only watch in awe as their master raised the first ever deitite blade into the air. Its blue sheen seemed to absorb the light, giving it a dark hue. With the dexterity of a master, the smith swung the blade once. Suddenly, all the lanterns in the building extinguished, casting the place into darkness. "It is as the legends say. Open the door," he instructed his apprentices, who quickly did as he said. The adjacent room's windows carried the light of dawn into the workshop, but none of it seemed to reach the blade, stopping unnaturally short of it. "Like I thought." "Master?" one of the apprentices spoke up. "This weapon feels wrong." "Do not mistake your place," the mastersmith said sternly. "Weapons are but tools to an end. We forge not to question, but to craft." With purpose, he walked over to the end of the workshop, where a pre-made sheath waited. With the grace of a nobleman, the smith inserted the blade, which fit perfectly. The moment it was fully covered up, the lanterns immediately lit up again. Our work is done. Let us find out what tale this blade will tell. And that's that. As a writer, I've always enjoyed the morally ambiguous questions like, is the person who crafted a weapon responsible if it is misused? And as such, I did work a lot of powerful items out through the hands of people in history, rather than using some sort of divine item trope. Like the video and subscribe for more subscriptions, because you can never have enough of those. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye.